All right, one of our themes for the show, appeasement never works. Israel trying to teach that to Mr. Biden and Ms. Harris, but unfortunately not yet. Anyway, for much more, let's bring in Mississippi Senator Roger Wicker, who's the ranking Republican on the House Armed Services Committee. Senator Wicker, as always, sir, thank you for helping us out. I mean, I'm going to say that what Israel has done, taking out Nasrallah, going to war against Hezbollah, trying to help their people get back into the northern part of Israel. I mean, that's action. That's not appeasement. That's actual deterrence. And I'm guessing that Iran is listening, sir. I wanted to get your take on it because you're in such a senior foreign policy position, and this is going to carry over administrations no matter who wins. So what are you thinking, Senator Wicker? Is Israel on the right track? And why, even to this day, Joe Biden is still talking about ceasefires and appeasement. What do you think, sir?
Well, it's not only deterrence, but it's winning, and that's what Israel is going to have to do. Now they deserve our support, and they deserve our congratulations. Absolutely. There are three terrorist groups that are absolutely run by the Iranian regime, and they have no goal whatever except one, and that is the destruction of the Jewish state and the elimination of Israel from the face of the earth, and for Israel to be from the river to the sea, a completely Palestinian state. So it is absolutely correct for Netanyahu to try to eliminate these groups, particularly now almost a year after this brutal attack, which killed civilians and did all sorts of unspeakable, even unwatchable acts. It is absolutely appropriate, not only as a matter of deterrence, but to actually weed out every extremist from these three groups: Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Hamas.
I mean, you know, this word, the Biden-Harris administration has a word, as you well know. It's called de-escalation. And I keep saying de-escalation is a badly formed synonym for appeasement. That's all it is. Their answer to almost everything with respect to Israel is de-escalation, ceasefires, and bring the hostages home. And it has not yielded anything. Israel has won what it has taken up on its own. Most recently, the bombing of the Hezbollah headquarters and killing the murderer, Nasrallah. I mean, de-escalation, what does that mean, Senator? It doesn't mean a thing to me. De-escalation means appeasement. I'm glad the Israelis, I'm glad they're ignoring it. I mean, I think they're going to, the whole world, the free world, will eventually thank Israel for what it's doing.
And Americans will thank them, and we ought to be thanking them right now. And that really should be the message that's coming from the Secretary of Defense, the National Security Advisor, and on up to the White House. Absolutely. They are doing us a favor. This Nasrallah fellow had killed hundreds of Americans, and he'd been allowed to stay in existence and run his murderous efforts on behalf of the Ayatollah in Iran for years and even decades, and absolutely, Netanyahu has done us a favor. They've done the Iranian people a favor. The citizens of Iran deserve better than this. And I'll tell you what else. I am pretty sure that the Arab neighbors of Israel and Iran are applauding this behind their own closed doors, because they've got nothing for this Iranian regime and their proxies. The Arab nations were under President Trump were just about to announce that they were ready to join the 21st century and end the repression type Islamic Shiite rule that Iran has been foisting off on the rest of the world, and we welcome that. And so, really, to the extent that we're that our weapons and our efforts are helping our ally Israel, our longtime, decades-long ally Israel, eliminate 3 terrorist groups who have nothing but murder on their minds. They're doing a favor to everybody.
As you recall, I'm sure, Senator, 40 years ago, was this guy Nasrallah was one of the leading planners of the Marine barracks bombing, which killed altogether close to 300 Americans. We've never gotten even for that until just now. But your other point, I think the Gulf state Arabs, I think that's a wonderful point. I think they're secretly rooting for Israel. They're very happy with Israel. And I guess the question, they would have added to the Abraham Accords if they had been given a chance in a second Trump term. I think that's a reasonably good assumption. And I want to ask you, Israel is threatening Iran. Israel is threatening the Ayatollahs in Iran. I don't know. Israel needs to do that. Trump famously said to the Taliban in Afghanistan, I've got your cell phone and your home address. That's the kind of language that these terrorists understand. That's the only thing they seem to understand. They don't understand de-escalation. Joe Biden says he wants to make a peace deal using the UN. Really? That's utter insanity. Anyway, Israel is trying to teach us here, our current government, how we should be behaving, but it doesn't look like they're listening.
Well, I totally agree with you, and I know you're astonished, Larry, that I would agree with you on anything, except I agree with you on almost everything you say.
Thank you.
But yeah, absolutely. They're doing us a favor, and they're doing the world a favor. And there is nothing to be said on any side of the equation about terrorist groups who want only to kill people. And when the Houthis are shooting at American ships, that is the equivalent of an Iranian proxy attacking the United States of America. And we might as well admit that and realize that we are the great Satan, and their goal is to eliminate Israel and come after us.
Yes, sir. Senator Roger Wicker, thank you, sir. Thanks for your wisdom.